I always thought confessions happened like in movies. Dramatic lighting, trembling hands, someone crying into their sleeves. But real life doesn't work like that. Real life ambushes you when you least expect it. And that night, when she stood in the doorway of our living room with her arms crossed and her eyes refusing to meet mine, I felt the shift before she even opened her mouth. She took a breath, the kind that telegraphed guilt miles before the words caught up, and said, "I've been seeing someone behind your back." Just like that. No build-up, no apology, no attempt to soften the blow. She dropped the sentence like she was taking out the trash, routine, casual, almost bored. The air in the room didn't move. Even the refrigerator hum felt like it shut off. I didn't explode, didn't ask who, didn't ask why. I just stared at her, taking in every detail, the way her right leg shook, the way she kept touching her phone like she was waiting for a message, the way she couldn't stay in the same spot for more than a few seconds. And that told me everything I needed to know. She wasn't confessing out of guilt. She was confessing because she thought she had an upgrade waiting. I exhaled slowly and said, "Okay." Her head snapped up, surprised. Uh, okay? Yeah, thank you for telling me. She hadn't expected calm. She expected rage or tears, something she could twist later to make me look unstable. And the confusion in her eyes was almost comical. "You're not upset?" she asked. I shrugged. "What's the point? You made your choice." Relief flickered across her face. Relief not for me, but for the smooth exit she assumed she'd get. That's when I realized she thought she still controlled the situation. I told her, "Go ahead. Say what you came here to say." And after a hesitation, she said, "He wants me to move in with him. Tonight." Right then, her phone buzzed with a message preview. "Everything ready? Can't wait to see you. Tell him." I didn't react, didn't blink, just nodded as if I had expected this all along, even though inside my pulse hammered like a war drum. "All right," I said, "if that's what you want." She exhaled in relief again. "I'll start packing. You do that." She had no idea she just triggered a plan I'd quietly prepared for weeks, ever since the late-night study sessions. Change passwords and the laugh no one makes alone in a bathroom. I walked to my office, retrieved a folder full of neatly organized receipts, screenshots, and call logs. Evidence not to fight her, but to protect myself. I wasn't going to lose my home or let her rewrite the narrative. I called the non-emergency police line and calmly asked for an escort while she gathered her things. Perfect. When I returned to the hallway, she was tossing clothes into a suitcase in frantic handfuls. "You're packing fast," I said. "I just want to get this over with," she muttered. Then came a knock. 2 officers. "Sir, you called for assistance?" Her face drained. "Why did you—" "I just want everything to go smoothly," I said, "so nobody misunderstands anything." An officer told her she was free to gather her belongings and would be escorted out, and she realized the rug had been pulled from under her. She packed faster, hands trembling, the reality sinking in that she wasn't guiding the moment anymore. Her phone buzzed again. "He's outside," she whispered. "Good," I replied. The officers escorted her out. She walked past me like a stranger, stunned and humiliated because this wasn't the dramatic exit she imagined. The moment the door closed, I moved fast. Not frantic, but precise, changing every lock, every security code, the Wi-Fi, the garage opener, the alarm fob, every system tied to her access. By the time she reached the sidewalk, she had no way back in. But the real twist arrived with her boyfriend, who stepped out of his car confidently, unaware of everything he had just walked into. "Is she ready?" he asked. I stepped outside. "She's got everything she's taking," I said. "The rest stays." He scoffed. "She's coming back for her stuff tomorrow." An officer corrected him. "No, she's not. She no longer has access tonight." The boyfriend turned to her. "Did you not tell him?" But she couldn't speak. "You're overreacting," he told me. "Let her get the rest." I smiled calmly. "She won't, and if anyone forces entry, the cameras will record it. I'll send footage to the police." His jaw clenched. "This is ridiculous." "Sir, step back," an officer warned, and he did, huffing about lawyers. "Good," I said. "I've been expecting that, because the trap wasn't something I set tonight. It was already in place. I'd transferred the deed into my name weeks ago, secured my assets, documented every inconsistency, and reorganized every legal tie she thought she still had. Every move she planned, I had already countered before she even realized there was a game. And as she stood there clutching her suitcase under the streetlight, pale and silent, I watched the moment she truly understood. She hadn't left me. I had let her go. And the trap wasn't for her. It was for him, because he had no idea what he had just walked into, and he was about to find out. The thing about traps is that they don't snap shut loudly, not the smart ones. Smart traps tighten silently, inch by inch, until the person inside doesn't realize they're cornered until it's too late to run. And he, her secret someone, had just stepped right into mine without even knowing the rules of the game. The officers walked her to his car while he kept glancing back at me like I was the villain of the story. But that part didn't bother me. What bothered me was the arrogance, the assumption that I would melt down or chase after either of them. Instead, I simply stood on the porch, arms crossed, letting the cold night air settle everything into place. And when his car door slammed shut and the headlights washed over the street, she finally looked at me through the window, expecting a last argument or some desperate outburst. But I just nodded once and stepped back inside, closing the door on both of them, literally and symbolically. The lock clicked, the new code registered, and the house was quiet again. The police car rolled away, leaving the street empty except for the sound of the retreating engine of the man she had chosen. And I stood there for a long moment, breathing in the stillness. Not because I missed her, but because I was letting the weight of the last few weeks evaporate off my shoulders. The moment passed, then my phone buzzed. A message from her. "We need to talk. This isn't what I wanted." I didn't respond. A second message came. "Please don't do anything stupid. I know you're hurt." Hurt? No. Prepared? Absolutely. I put my phone down and went to work securing the final pieces. Earlier that week, I had already consulted a lawyer just in case things went sideways. All finances had been cleanly separated. The car she drove was in my name, leased, not owned. The utilities were in my name. The insurance, the property taxes, everything she assumed was joint was already quietly rewritten. By sunrise, her access to anything involving me, money, accounts, documents, was gone. Digitally erased, not out of revenge, but out of self-protection. Midday, her mother texted me, "What happened yesterday? She says you kicked her out with police?" I answered honestly, "I called for a peaceful escort. I didn't want drama." She admitted she'd been seeing someone else. She chose to leave. 5 minutes later, her mother replied, "I'm sorry. No excuses, no blame. Just 2 words, and strangely, it felt like closure." But the real twist didn't come until late afternoon when my doorbell rang. I checked the camera feed and almost laughed. There he was, the boyfriend. The same guy who acted like he owned my porch last night, now shifting uncomfortably with his hands buried in his jacket pockets. I opened the door but didn't step aside. "What do you want?" He cleared his throat, trying to keep his voice steady. "We need to talk. It's important." "No," I said plainly. "Nothing you have to say is important. She told me her version. I want to hear yours." "I don't owe you anything." He sighed, frustrated. "Look, she wasn't honest with me either. About a lot of things." And there it was, the first crack. "What do you mean?" I asked. He rubbed the bridge of his nose. "She said she was separated from you for months, that you two were done, just living in the same house because you couldn't afford to move out." I smiled. "That's a good one." "It gets better," he said. "She also told me you were emotionally abusive, controlling, that she was basically trapped." I raised an eyebrow. "Did she mention that while she was trapped, she had 3 different dating apps on her phone?" He blinked. "3? 3, I repeated. "And that she had 2 other guys she was talking to besides you?" He swallowed hard. "You're lying." I walked inside, grabbed printed screenshots, and handed them to him. His face changed slowly, painfully, like someone tightening a screw behind his eyes. "You knew," he whispered. "For weeks," I said. You think I didn't notice her laughing in the bathroom, hiding makeup wipes in her glove compartment, or the way she suddenly needed midnight drives to clear her head? He stared at the pages. She told me she was going to ask you for half the house. She can't ask for something she has zero claim to, I said. Her name's nowhere on it. Legally, she can't take anything she didn't purchase. He sighed. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know she was like this. Now you do. He looked down again. Last night after we left, she said you humiliated her, that you called the cops to embarrass her. I shook my head. No, I called them to protect myself, and she knows that. He ran a hand through his hair. She wants to come back. That's not happening. Yeah, he said quietly. I figured. A long silence passed. Finally, he stepped back. Look, I'm sorry. I never meant to get involved in something like this. You already did. Yeah, I guess I did. Then he hesitated. Is it okay if I give you a heads up about something? Go on. He shifted uncomfortably. She's planning something. I don't know what. She was furious last night. Not because you kicked her out, but because you didn't react the way she expected. Meaning? From what I gathered, she wanted a meltdown. Something dramatic. Something she could use to justify leaving you. But when you didn't give her that, she switched tactics. Which are? She said she might tell people you were violent. I didn't move. That'll be hard, I said finally. Every exit is on camera. Every officer had body cams. Every message she sent is saved. I'm not worried. Good, he replied, because you shouldn't be. Then he added, and for what it's worth, I'm done with her. After last night, after seeing these, he lifted the folder. I'm out. And the trap? I asked. He frowned. What trap? The one you walked into, I said. The one you're stepping out of now. His eyes widened as he realized what I meant. The trap wasn't revenge or sabotage, but truth. Truth she couldn't spin or hide behind tears. Truth recorded and documented from every angle. He looked away embarrassed. Well, I guess thanks for not punching me. I shrugged. You came to the front door. That's more than she ever did. He almost smiled, then nodded and walked away. I shut the door, and for the first time in weeks, the house felt like mine again. Quiet, warm, uncomplicated. But the story didn't end there. 2 days later, she tried calling me, then texting, then messaging from different numbers. I didn't respond. Her final message read, I didn't think you'd actually let me go. I stared at it for a long time. She wasn't mourning me or regretting her choices. She was stunned that I had stepped away calmly, cleanly, without giving her anything to twist. And that was the real betrayal in her eyes. Not losing me, but losing the control she thought she had. In the following weeks, mutual friends reached out. Some said she claimed I kicked her onto the street. Others that I locked her out for no reason. But then they saw the police report, the timestamps, the messages, the footage, and their tone changed. One wrote, I'm sorry, I didn't know the full story. She lied to everyone. Another, you handled this better than most people would have. And the one that hit hardest, you didn't lose her, you escaped. Months later, I realized they were right. The calm wasn't weakness, it was power. The silence wasn't surrender, it was strategy. The trap wasn't revenge, it was letting the truth reveal everyone for who they were. Her? She exposed herself. Him? He stepped back once he saw the real picture. Me? I didn't break. I didn't chase. I didn't collapse under betrayal. I stepped forward. I rebuilt. I reclaimed my peace, my home, my stability, my dignity. And the last twist? Months later, he sent me one final message. Thank you. You saved me from making the worst mistake of my life. No anger, no bitterness, just honesty. Funny how things turn out. In the end, she didn't ruin me. She revealed me, revealed them, and revealed who I never needed to be with in the first place. The trap wasn't punishment. It was clarity. And sometimes that's the most powerful trap of all.